It's always an honor to welcome my next guest, political analyst John Fonda. John, thank you for joining us today on the U.S. Report. I'd like to begin with U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio, often called the hardest-working figure in politics, who recently made headlines with his sharp response after it was revealed that the U.S. allegedly targeted an eighth drug-carrying vessel as part of its interdiction campaign, this time in the Pacific Ocean. His exact words were, "These are drug boats. If people want to stop seeing drug boats blow up, stop sending drugs to the United States." Not a bad response, right? Could you walk us through this effort to neutralize these drug vessels? Donald Trump has also stated clearly, "If you're smuggling drugs that endanger American lives, we will respond with force." How is this strategy being perceived? Well, those who adhere strictly to international law are, of course, deeply concerned. On the flip side, international law does have its limitations. It isn't always effective against terrorist organizations actively working to destabilize another nation. And that's essentially what we're dealing with regarding Venezuelan drug shipments. So, this falls into a legal gray area. The president's stance is straightforward. We receive zero cooperation from Venezuelan authorities. They aren't intercepting their own narcotics shipments. In fact, there's strong evidence that the Venezuelan military is overseeing these operations. As a result, the U.S. is taking precise, targeted actions to send a clear message to the cartels. The risks of this trade are now unacceptably high, absolutely. This is a far cry from the usual process of being intercepted by law enforcement and going through lengthy court proceedings. Now, let's shift from one Secretary of State to another. Hillary Clinton has recently commented on what appears to be a highly debated initiative, the proposed construction of a ballroom in the East Wing area of the White House. She expressed her views on social media, stating, "It's not his house. It's your house and he's destroying it." John, isn't Hillary Clinton aware of the numerous renovations carried out by previous presidents? She herself has attended numerous events where temporary tents were set up on the lawn precisely because the White House lacks a permanent, large event venue. Could you share your perspective on this ongoing debate? Well, I can personally attest to how much Hillary Clinton valued the White House during her time there. So much so that when she moved out, she took several pieces of furniture with her to her new home in Chappaqua, though she later returned them. So her attachment to the White House is clear. As for other presidents, Theodore Roosevelt, Harry Truman, both widely respected by the Washington establishment, they undertook significant changes. Even Barack Obama oversaw a $15 million renovation of the East Wing, which included demolition using bulldozers. The core issue isn't whether renovations should happen. As you noted, setting up temporary structures for events with more than 100 guests is both inconvenient and disrupts the ambiance. The real debate lies in the nature and scope of the changes being proposed. So the proposed ballroom would actually serve future presidents as well. In fact, construction likely won't be completed until after the next administration begins. This means the space will be available for use by all who follow. It's important to note that the project is privately funded, and there's a long-standing tradition of the White House evolving to meet its growing social and ceremonial responsibilities. Exactly. As you mentioned, Nixon added a bowling alley. Another president installed a swimming pool. I can't recall who. That was John F. Kennedy. Right, John F. Kennedy had the pool built, and that certainly required significant excavation as well. It's remarkable how much controversy this is generating. But let's shift focus to what lies ahead. You mentioned the future occupant of the White House. One possibility is California Governor Gavin Newsom. However, recent early polling shows him facing challenges. According to a Noble Predictive Insights survey, Kamala Harris currently stands at 33%, with Newsom at 13%, followed by AOC and Transportation Secretary Pete Buttigieg trailing behind. So what's really happening here? Is there a genuine possibility that Democrats might rally behind Kamala Harris? Or is this just temporary buzz driven by her book tour and related publicity? That would certainly be a strategic choice. One party would celebrate, the other would despair, and it's not hard to guess which is which. True, but do you think Democrats would actually welcome that scenario, essentially saying, "Bring it on, let's have a rematch"? Well, speaking for this platform, we fully support Kamala Harris becoming the Democratic nominee. As a Californian myself, I'm familiar with Kamala, and I believe she truly deserves a prominent platform. I completely agree. Let's all rally behind the Draft Kamala movement. We're clearly on the same page here. Now, turning to border matters, our frequent topic of discussion, Homeland Security Secretary Tom Homan has stated he aims for ICE to deport over 600,000 undocumented individuals by year's end. This comes as the Trump administration highlighted that 1.6 million migrants have voluntarily departed. What's interesting is that some of these figures are actually lower than what was recorded under President Barack Obama. Yet, there seems to be significantly more public outcry now. Can you explain the political reasoning behind the Democrats' strong, almost unwavering commitment to supporting undocumented migration? First, it's important to note that many of these statistics can be unreliable. How do you accurately track how many people leave the country voluntarily? During Obama's tenure, we knew deportation numbers were high, and we're aware they're substantial now as well. I believe immigration enforcement should prioritize individuals with criminal records, avoid unnecessarily separating families, and offer incentives, such as financial assistance of $1,000 or $2,000 to encourage voluntary departure. How effective will this approach be? Reasonably so, because many will recognize that if they choose to leave voluntarily, it doesn't permanently bar them from re-entering legally in the future, provided they follow proper procedures. That's the crucial point. We should create pathways that incentivize legal immigration rather than relying solely on forced removal.